organ stopped playing.
Tom had a little Gemshorn malfunction. Yeah. Okay, this is really interesting. When I was in college, I went to Calvin College in Michigan, and we had a concert of Gemshorns. That's the first time I had ever seen the instrument. And ours were very simple. Someone took the horn of an ox, locked it off absolutely level, and then sunk a whistle mouthpiece into that level surface. But these that we have at William & Mary are incomparably nicer. You can see from a side view, the mouthpiece is built up above the surface of the instrument, just like a recorder would be. And then the entire space inside here is filled with a bunch of cedar. Now imagine the craftsmanship that this requires. Every Gemshorn is a different shape and size. So this is the ultimate case of measure twice, cut once. When you put a piece of cedar in here that's not only fits the outer dimensions of the horn, but then curves beautifully and gracefully up into a beautiful, very narrow, curved mouthpiece like those on the best of recorders. You know, a cheap recorder has a straight across rectangular mouthpiece. The nicer ones have a very, very graceful arch that's narrower at the ends than it is in the middle. And these are made just like a high quality recorder. The workmanship is astounding. I encourage you to come up afterwards and see these close up. It's probably easiest to see on the big kahuna there.
Furthermore, you see that they have a full complement of finger holes. In actuality, the position of these holes doesn't matter a single bit. The pitch of the instrument is determined by the volume of space inside, and the pitch after, when you're doing the holes, is determined entirely by the size of the hole. That allows how much air to escape and thus changes the pitch of the instrument. The position does not matter. It's just convenient for we recordists and the like to have them in a similar configuration.
So we just now on that piece played a tenor, a bass, and a great bass Gemshorn. Here's the alto. And the soprano. And
oh my gosh.
Are these endangered species?
Thank goodness no. Those all came from oxen. The man who makes them lives in the Czech Republic, and he goes to the Vienna slaughterhouse twice a year and buys up horns. But this one, as you can see, is very different, and it comes from the horn of a springbok from South Africa.
I have a question.
Okay, so the pitch is only determined by the size of the holes. How do they know?
Well, the volume inside the instrument.
And but given that the volume is so different in each horn, it's unique. How do they know how big to make the holes?
You have to measure it. They carve out the inside of the horn. They also have to measure out that volume, and then it takes a lot of fine tuning. They drill a smaller hole and then tune it as they go.
Wow. They fill it with water.
All right, we'll move on now to the reed family, and we'll start with the predecessor of the oboe, the shawm. And on organs, that is often named as a stop name Schallmeier, which is which is the German word for what the English called a shawm. That'd be you, Tom.
I'm trying to find it. I don't remember where we have something that's comparable. Is there a Shalmai here?
No, just the oboe or the crumb arm.
Okay, we'll probably save that. Let me just try this for the heck of doing this. Predecessor of the oboe. You can see, I don't know if you can see the oboe-like reed on here, and I won't guarantee that you're going to hear much from this now, except just a lot of noise. And that's a pretty controlled sound. That's what you get. So you almost can't make it any softer. It's meant to be right out there in your face. So what you just heard, did I play a tune? I don't remember.
The picture of the shawms is on the back side of this sheet. It's the third picture down, the one that also includes the bagpipes. Bagpipes are on the left-hand side, the shawms are on the right. The size that Tom played is actually smaller than the smallest one depicted here. So you can extrapolate and see that the bass shawm that's depicted on the left-hand side of this was a very, very large instrument indeed. Perhaps even more rude and uncontrolled than the shawm was the Rauschpfeife, aptly named in German the rude pipe. Rauschpfeife means. And we have two particularly hard to control Rauschpfeife, so we soaked the reeds on both of them, and we're going to see if either one of us can get a sound out of it. As much Rauschpfeife as I'm going to play.
Organists will remember, of course, that the Rauschpfeife usually is a mixture stop made up of principal pipes, but of course numerous trumpet stops might emulate these particular sounds, particularly the horizontal trumpet in this organ.
Yes,
So these particular instruments have reeds in them.
they do. These are part of a family of instruments called cap double reeds that are extinct in the modern orchestra. You have a double reed, like on an oboe or bassoon, covered by a cap, and you blow so forcefully the reed is forced to vibrate. These Rauschpfeifen tend to come in various sizes like all the other instruments. This is a soprano, here is a soprano. They also had altos and tenors, which you can extrapolate as being considerably longer based on these.
Now, does an organ also have reeds in the pipes, or
In the pipes for the Rauschpfeife?
well,
Any organ reed pipe.
Oh, yes,
or a
yes.
reed type?
Yes, it's very similar to, we're going to get to the Shalom in a few moments, but that's really very much like the organ pipes, which have reeds, trumpet, trombone, whatever, are built very much like the Shalom, which we'll show shortly. So you can take an organ pipe apart and you can see those parts in the organ pipe still today. They're brass and not a real reed, but most of the vibrated part of what's inside the organ pipe is a brass tongue and not a reed. You have to replace them too often.
But there were exposed reed instruments in the Renaissance, and the one that we're going to show you next is the granddaddy of the bassoon. The picture of that family, this was called the Dulcian. That's on the front of the instrument handout, and it's the bottom picture. And you'll see a whole bunch of different length instruments there. And if you look closely, you'll see that they are not a single channel of wind, but one that goes down to the bottom and comes back up again, which is to this day how a bassoon works. A bassoon sounds at twice the length that it appears, because you blow in the top, it goes down to the bottom, comes all the way back up again, so you get double the sounding length of the instrument. So Tom here has a soprano dulcian. Isn't that a wonderful thing? I mean, we have bassoons nowadays and contrabassoons, but imagine the wonderful concept of a soprano bassoon. This is a soprano dulcian. It's got an exposed double reed, very much like an oboe or bassoon reed now. But it has this wonderful, sweet sound, hence the name.
And I'm a recovered bassoon player.
Recovering.
Now, if you take a dulcian or an instrument similar to it called a kirtle and place a wind cap on it like the Rauschpfeife, you get another instrument called the Kortholt, which is not emulated in organs, but is really cool to say. The name means short wood in German. The Praetorians could not figure out how it worked.
Another capped reed instrument is the cornemuse. So this is a double reed inside a cap, and we're going to play a little duet, right?
Yes, 21.
Cornemuses. So there were the loud, rude reeds like the Sham and the Rauschpfeife. These are now the soft, the kindler, gentler reeds for in-home use.